Hey yo, what's going on guys? It's your boy No Tires Just Gas back again with a brand new video, and today we are going to be looking at and reviewing and ranking all of the 2024 Darlington throwbacks. So basically I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite truck and Xfinity cars, and then for the Cup cars I'm going to be putting them on a tier list and telling y'all which my favorites are. So yeah, let's get right into the video. Alright, so starting us off with the truck series, I've got 3 truck cars and then 4 Xfinity cars on here before we get to the Cup cars. So starting off with the trucks, Tyler Ankrum, Days of Thunder throwback. The truck looks great. They pretty much got it completely perfect. And yeah, there's really not much to say about this one. We see Days of Thunder throwbacks pretty much every single year. But every year we see them, they look great. We saw Ryan Ellis one in the Xfinity series. And we might have seen one more, I can't remember. But overall, this Tyler Ankrum truck looks really good. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the win in it. But I think he was running like top 10, top 15 all night. So, pretty good run for Ankrum. And let's move on to the next one. Alright, so the next one up is Lawless Allen's throwback. So basically, the theme for this year's Darlington throwbacks was grassroots. So basically, he is throwing it back to one of his old Legends cars from when he first started racing. So it's a really cool throwback. It's kind of weird because it's like a Lawless, a Lawless Allen throwback. But like who is throwing it back to a Lawless Allen paint scheme? But like, it's like, it makes sense because it's grassroots. So it's a really cool looking car. I kind of wish they would just run this car like every week because it pops really nice. The only thing is the red Craftsman banner looks super weird, but it looks really nice. It pops out really nice, and overall, they got the throwback really good, and it looks really realistic to the throwback, or to the original car, sorry. And it matches the theme perfect with grassroots, so it's really cool to see him throw it back to his beginnings. And let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the final Truck Series paint scheme of this video is Stuart Friesen's throwback to Jimmy Johnson's 2010 Coke 600 paint scheme, the patriotic car. This one, it's kind of weird to see it on a truck, I'm not even gonna lie, but like, it's still really good looking. Again, this is another one that I wish they would run every week because it looks so good. So I might be biased because I'm a Jimmy Johnson fan, but this thing looks great. They changed their font and the logo on the hood to match the Lowe's logos, which looks really nice. They got all the stars in the right spots. They got the colors perfect. And yeah, it looks really nice. I think this is probably my favorite truck throwback of the year. So yeah, it's a really nice paint scheme, the original one and the throwback version. And really cool to see a throwback to Jimmy because I am a Jimmy Johnson fan. And let's move on to Xfinity. Okay, so I'm sorry this picture is very, very low quality. It's the only one I could find. But Leland Honeyman throwing it back to Kyle Petty, I believe, with the mellow yellow number 42 car. Not much to say about this one. We saw Larson do this scheme a couple years ago. Looks really nice, as usual. I mean, I feel like every other year we see a mellow yellow throwback. But the first one that comes to mind is Larson's. Obviously this car was not running up front. Didn't see it on TV much, but still a cool paint scheme. And, every year when they pull this one out, it's one of my favorites. Alright, moving on. This might be my favorite Xfinity throwback of the year. It's tied with another one that you'll see later in this video. But, God, this thing just looks so perfect, so good. The Kyle Petty Hot Wheels throwback, it's just perfect. They changed their logo to match the Hot Wheels logo, which I like. They changed the number font, which I like. They got the little like orange track loop-de-loop thing around the number, just like the old version, which looks great. And they also changed the logo on the hood, which you can't really see, but they did. This car looked great on track. This is one of my favorite paint schemes of all time, the original version. It's just so perfect. And yeah, one of the best throwbacks of the year across all 3 series. Okay, so this one's kind of random, but I actually kind of like it. It is a Josh Bilicki throwback to Justin Allgaier's 2014 Plan B Sales New Hampshire car. This thing is kind of weird. A Justin Allgaier throwback is kind of weird. At least a Justin Allgaier Cup Series throwback, because he never really ran that good in the Cup Series. So it's kind of weird, but it's still a great paint scheme, the original one and the new one. Again, another one that I wish they would just run like every week as a normal paint scheme, because this thing just looks so good. So like, it's kind of weird because it's a Justin Allgaier throwback to his 2014 Cup Series season, but it's also a good throwback because it's a good paint scheme. And if you look at some of the pictures on the sides, they match the scheme pretty well. I wish the gray was black to match the scheme a little better, but at the same time, the gray honestly looks better than the black. So, it's a trade-off, but all in all, a really good paint scheme. And let's move on to the final Xfinity Series throwback, and probably my favorite throwback of the entire weekend. Alright, Shane Van Gisbergen's number 97 Marcos Ambrose throwback. This car is just perfect. Sort of back to Marcos Ambrose's 2012 or 2013 car, I believe. They're both Australians. They're both Supercars champions that came over and raced in NASCAR. Won in NASCAR. And this car just looked so good, so perfect. When I saw this, my jaw hit the floor. This scheme is just so perfect. And probably my favorite throwback I've ever seen. Like, not just this year, but like that I've ever seen in my entire life. This thing is just so perfect, so good, so amazing. I don't really know what else to say about it. But yeah, I mean, the meaning behind this, obviously throwing it back to Marcos Ambrose, who's also Australian. It's realistic. Sorry if you can hear the planes in the background. But it's realistic to the original car, and just everything about it is so perfect. Honestly, the 97 looks better than the 9 did. I really like how the 97 looks. And yeah, all in all, probably the best throwback paint scheme of the year. And let's move on to the tier list for the Cup Series now. Alright, so we've got the tier list put up. This does have every paint scheme that's getting run this weekend on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put all the non-throwbacks in the not throwback tier, and then I'll get back to you when I finish that. Alright, so I've got all the non-throwbacks in the non-throwback tier, so all we have left is all of the throwbacks for this year. So we're going to go in numerical order. Ross Chastain, throwing it back to, I believe, the old Busch Beer logo branding. I'm going to go ahead and put this one in... I'm going to go ahead and put this one in B tier. It would be A tier, but I want to save A tier for 4 very specific cars. I think you already know what they are. But, so this would be A tier, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in B tier. This reminds me of Kevin Harvick's 2016 throwback. Maybe it was 2015 or 2017, or maybe I'm just freaking out. But I'm pretty sure that Kevin Harvick ran a paint scheme like this for Throwback Weekend a couple years ago. So, yeah, Ross Chastain, good-looking car. One of my favorites. It'll go in B tier. Austin Dillon, throwing it back to a gold Dale Earnhardt car. This one, it's alright. Obviously, Dillon has to do the Dale Earnhardt throwback. I'll go ahead and put it in C tier for now. A decent paint scheme, a decent throwback, but nothing special. We see it every year. Moving on, Josh Berry, throwing it back to Rodney Childers. It's a good throwback, but it's not the best paint scheme. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in C tier for now. I think that's a good place for it. Okay, I think you already know where this one's going. Kyle Larson, Terry Labonte throwback to his 96 championship, I think. This one, it's perfect. It's perfect. Everything down to the last minute detail. It's perfect. I think you know what other cars are also coming up here. But yeah, so the first of 4 Hendrick cars have found its way to A tier. This one of the 4 is actually probably my favorite. I just love the colors on this thing, and they match the original scheme so perfectly. And yeah. Moving on to Brad Keselowski. This one is actually throwing it back to like a, what's it called? Like a, what's like an IMSA car called? Like a endurance car, a sports car? I don't even know. It's throwing it back to one of those cars. It's a really nice looking throwback, and it's actually very realistic to the original scheme. I've seen the renders of it. So I'm actually going to put this one in B tier. This is another one that I wish they would run like every weekend because it looks so good. Corey LaJoie, he's getting a D, I guess. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put him a D. He matched the theme of grassroots, but this car is just ugly. And that's really all I have to say about it. Chase Elliott, talking about Dale Jr., 2014 Daytona 500. That's going in A tier with his teammate Larson. The throwback is great. 10 years since that 500 in the 2014 season for Hendrick's 40th anniversary. Also, the scheme just looks really nice, and it's really realistic to the original car. So I really like that one. Chase Briscoe, kind of rapid firing through these. I'll put him in C tier. I'm not quite sure what this scheme is throwing back to. I know I've seen like some rendering of it, and I know I've seen who it's throwing back to. I just forgot. But I remember thinking when I found out who it was actually throwing back to that it was like nothing too special. And honestly, this game is kind of boring, so I'll go ahead and put it in C tier. Kaz Gralla, again, I know I've seen who this is throwing back to. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But the scheme is really nice, so I'll go ahead and put it in B tier. Not sure who's running the 16 car this weekend, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in F because I'm not really sure what this is or what it's throwing back to or even who's driving it. So it can't be too important. Martin Truex Jr. throwing it back to his 2016, I think, Southern 500 win when he was with Furniture Row. This one, I like the throwback. I also like the paint scheme. It's kind of a new throwback. Like, this car's only 8 years old. So I'm going to have to dock some points for that. I would put it B tier. But I think I'm going to put it... Yeah, I'll put it B tier, actually. I'll put it, like, at the end of B tier. It's a really nice scheme. It's a really nice throwback. I just wish the car was, like, a little older. But that's really my only complaint. Harrison Burton, D tier. I know who this is throwing back to. Again, another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. But I don't like this paint scheme. And honestly, the fact that I don't remember who it's throwing back to probably doesn't mean that it's that, like, irrelevant. Or relevant, sorry. So yeah, Harrison Burton, I'll put it in D tier. William Byron, throwing it back to Jeff Gordon's 2009, 2010, 2008, in there. The black with the flames and the gradient on the front. One of my favorite Jeff Gordon paint schemes, honestly, of all time, and they got the throwback pretty nice. Obviously, Byron's going to be thrown back to Gordon like he does every year, and it looks great. So, another one in A tier. I'm not a Hendrick fanboy, I promise. I just really like these cars. This is not biased at all. I think everybody agrees with me that the Hendrick cars, the 4 Hendrick cars, are the 4 best Cup Series throwbacks this year. Moving on, Justin Haley. Not really sure if this is a throwback to. I'm not even 100% sure it is a throwback. So I'm just going to put it in F tier just to make sure I don't, like, miss it if it is a throwback. But I have no idea, like, what this even is. McDowell, he gets an F tier. This throwback sucks. It's throwing back to Long John Silver's old logo. This is a horrible throwback. Why am I forgetting this guy's name? Who drives the... Todd Gilliland. Why did I forget his name? Okay. I guess a D tier. This scheme is alright, but it's nothing special. Ryan Preece, throwing it back to his old modified cars from like 2013, I think. Matching the grassroots theme, the scheme is alright. I'll give this one a C tier. It could be B, but the paint scheme's not my favorite, so I'll give it a C tier. Legacy Motor Club, obviously throwing it back to the Petty family. Like every year, this one I think is a Lee Petty throwback, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. But I like the paint scheme, so I'll put it in C tier. And then this one is obviously a Richard Petty throwback. I'll put this one... Actually, I'll put this one in C tier, and I'll put this one in B tier. I think that's good. Reddick, I'll give it a B tier. I can't remember what this is throwing back to. I know I just saw something about this morning. Why can I not remember? It's a B tier. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., this gets an F tier. It's just throwing it back to, I think, a Mark Martin car. I can't exactly remember, though. But this thing is ugly. This thing is an eyesore. And I don't look forward to seeing this thing on the racetrack. I Alex Bowman, throwing it back to Jimmy Johnson. A tier. I'm not quite sure what season this is throwing back to, because Jimmy's cars look the same for most of the seasons, especially like 02 to 05, which I think is what this car's throwing back to. But yeah, really good looking car. Again, another Hendrick car. They crushed it this year. And yeah. Zane Smith, not sure what this is throwing back to. I'll give it a D tier. The car's kind of boring. Same with Carson Hocevar's teammate. Getting another boring car. This thing looks like it's a police car. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so the Spire car's kind of boring. D all across the board. Spire did not do a good job this year. And then our last car is Daniel Suarez. This one goes in B tier. Again, another one that would be an A tier, but I want to save A tier for the Hendrick cars. This one is actually an IndyCar throwback to a Mexican racer. I forgot his name, but it's an IndyCar throwback to a Mexican-born IndyCar racer. So it makes sense that Daniel Suarez would throw back to a Mexican. It's interesting that it's an IndyCar throwback, but they actually got the paint scheme pretty accurate. So, props to them, I guess. I forgot the guy's name. But yeah, I know it's a Mexican-born IndyCar driver, and it's a really good-looking throwback, and it has pretty good meaning behind it. So yeah, that is our final throwback for the video. We're so close to 450 subs, so if you like the video, get down below, like and subscribe. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to any mothers out there that might be watching this, which I don't think there is any. But yeah, happy Mother's Day. Hopefully today there's a good race. Truck and Xfinity races were alright, but hopefully the Cup Series can put on a good product. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.